What's up? Welcome, you guys, to the Harbor Live. We are ready to go. Things can look a little bit different tonight. We have our very own Ashlyn Chisholm on. Ashlyn, how are you?
I'm all right.
You good?
Yeah.
You're all right? All right, hey. So we're going to start this out lighthearted, all right? We are going to do I'm just going to keep doing the dad jokes because they are so, not enough power. Because they are so bad, all right? And so I love the cringiness. All right. And so, as always, normally I have a better angle. So, because for some reason the iPhone 11 Pro is not wanting to work today. And so, anyways, always new this week. We've got a new series, new problems, new guest, most importantly. And so, Ashton, are you ready for these dad jokes?
I think I'm ready as I'll ever be.
All right. So, let's see how long you can keep a straight face. You ready?
Okay.
Because I actually kind of picked these all out for you. When I asked you to do this, I was like, all right, Ashton, she can never keep a straight face. Right? See, you've already failed.
Yes.
All right, and our audience, our crowd. All right, yeah, we count on you to bring the humor. All right. What do you call a sleepy dad getting pizza for his kids?
I don't know.
Papa yawns.
I'm already losing. I can't.
I know. That's a good one. I was proud of finding that one. Guys, I just want you to know I did not write any of these, which is kind of sad. But I'm gonna take credit. So, what do kids' parents dress up as for Halloween? Mummies and daddies.
These are so bad.
They're funny, like cringy. We need to get Isabel Bowen on here.
Yeah. She would have a lot to say right now.
Yeah.
I think she's going off in the group chat right now.
I see her on the comments. What do you have? What do I have if I have 8 red Lego bricks in one hand and 16 blue Lego bricks in the other hand?
I don't know.
Really big hands. Yeah, that was dumb. Okay, so I didn't get that one. So, anyways,
Yeah.
dad joke. Want to hear a joke about a balloon? Oh, wait, it just got away from me. Get it?
I get it.
Okay. What does a house wear? A dress. Get it? That's what we're looking for. All right. Hey, is your brother around?
I can go grab him.
Yeah, go grab him. Let's see if he can keep a straight face.
All right. I doubt it though.
Yeah. So we're interrupting you guys. We're gonna see if Graham can keep a straight face because Ashlyn lost in the first one, and I got about 6 more questions or jokes here. So guys, I hope you guys are having a great week. The weather today is awesome and nice and warm. I was looking at the forecast coming up, and it's kind of made me sad because it's up and down, and I just wanted to be hot because if you guys saw my Instagram post yesterday, my legs were white, and I need to tan them. Oh, there he is! All right, Graham, what's up, man? Wait, yeah, I'm going to 2 places at once. All right, so here we go. Do you know dogs can't go through MRIs?
What?
Look at me, right here. Hey, right here.
Oh.
All right, so act like I'm looking at you. All right. Do you know dogs can't go through MRIs?
No.
But cats can. Get it? Cats can.
No, I don't.
Okay. Dang. All right. So, That's a good one. Why should you write with a broken? Why should you not write with a broken pencil?
This is broke.
It's pointless. Yeah, yeah, that's a good one. Here's another one. Why is corn such a good listener?
I have no clue.
Because it's all ears.
Ears like ears on a corn. Oh, I still don't know.
Well, maybe next week we'll bring some corn in, and I'll show what. Yeah, tough crowd. What ears of corn are. Okay. Why do crabs never share? Because they're shellfish. Get it? That one's a good one.
Shellfish are another animal. Exactly.
What? Yeah, that's the type of animal. That's their category. All right. What do you call a man who can't stand?
Got no legs.
Neil. Get it? It's his name. Neil. Oh gosh, Ashley, I need you in there. You got to get in there laughing.
I'm not laughing though.
You're over there like. All right. Okay. So, what do you call a bear without teeth? A gummy bear. Yeah, that's a good one. That's fun. Yeah, that's on our level, right? Why did the Invisible Man turn down the job offer? He couldn't see himself doing it. Get it? All right, let's get a round of applause there. Thank you, Grant, for joining us. All right, now I'm going to interview Ashlyn. I got some questions for Ashlyn here.
All right.
So, Ashlyn, is this your first pandemic?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, that's good to hear. That's good. It's mine too. I did live in Oklahoma for 25 years. And so, Bad Jokes with Blake featuring the Chisholms. That's right. That should be a band. How has your quarantine gone?
I didn't know that I could be stressed in different ways, but I'm stressed on a whole new level.
Yeah. With school?
Yeah, it's going all right though.
Yeah, you passing? Do you know?
I'm trying my best.
Do your teachers know if you're passing?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think anybody knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, have you left your house?
I went to Kroger this Saturday and I regretted it. It was awful.
Yeah. Have you gone on walks or anything like that? Done anything fun-ish?
We had a bonfire outside. That was pretty fun.
You had a bonfire?
Sort of.
Like, so just like a fire?
Yeah.
Like a campfire?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, bonfire is huge. Yeah, and I did say pandemic because pandas it's being hokey. I never say specific. I always say like Pacific. It's a thing. But pandemic is much more fun. Have you done anything adventurous? Have you gone on any quests in video games? Have you?
I started playing Fortnite. If that counts.
Yeah. Have you won any?
That for it.
Have you won any matches?
I've won 3 or 4.
What?
Yeah.
Really? First place?
Yeah, I won first twice, and I played with Tara and Connor, and they're pretty good.
Wow. There we go. I'm not good at Fortnite, FYI. What are you looking forward to most after this whole ordeal is kind of finished or whatever it's going to look like? What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to coming back to the church, honestly, and just like being with everybody, because like they're my friends. I want to see my friends again.
That's a good answer. Church. Yeah, church and friends. That's good. What's been your favorite food during quarantine? What have you been eating a lot of?
Does that have to be a food or could it be a drink?
I mean, whatever.
I've been drinking a lot of grape Kool-Aid, so that's been pretty good.
Drinking the Kool-Aid. Watch out. Just drinking the Kool-Aid.
That and pizza rolls, and that about limits my diet for
So,
quarantine.
basically, summer.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are you going to do in the summer? Like, are you going to change your diet up? Or are you going to continue the grape Kool-Aid pizza rolls?
Probably gonna continue the grape Kool-Aid and pizza. Yeah, just continue it.
Yeah. I haven't had pizza rolls in ages. Share a quick word of advice and something you miss.
Wait, advice or something I miss?
Yeah, share a quick word of advice and something you miss.
A schedule is actually really like a good sleeping schedule has actually helped me a lot with just everything, and a good schedule in general is also really good when it comes to schoolwork.
Okay, so keeping a schedule.
Yeah.
All right. What else? Anything else?
I miss like seeing people who aren't my parents.
Wait, what are you saying here?
Wait, what are you doing at?
Are your parents watching this right now?
No, don't tell them.
So you miss your friends.
Yes.
There we go. Ashlyn, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We hope you get some sleep. I hope you eat something other than pizza rolls. You probably should eat a salad, some lettuce, some fruit.
Yeah, that'd probably be nutritional.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. Does your brother eat pizza rolls too, or you just eat them?
We all eat pizza rolls.
Okay, well,
it's kind of all we have right now.
Yeah, I understand. You bought all the pizza rolls from Kroger.
Sort of. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Ashlyn, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was fun, and so we're gonna do that next week, guys. So I ask if you would join us, or ask. I'm gonna ask one of you guys. I'm gonna text you if you want to join us for the Harbor Live, and we'll do that again. We'll do the cringy dad jokes. I don't think we will ever run out of dad jokes. So next thing that's up, guys. We're starting this new sermon series tonight called Faith in an Anxious World. And it's going to take some time. We're going to work through it. So in order to keep this under an hour, we're not going to do worship tonight. But we are having a night of worship tomorrow night. Here at the church. So join us on Facebook. Join us via that to worship with us as we worship the Passover. And we take communion in your homes. Man, there's so much importance in doing that. You could maybe use pizza rolls for communion. I mean, basically, Ashlyn's been taking communion every day, add the marinara, maybe a little bit of pepperoni. I think Jesus would be okay with that. So that's a bad communion joke. No applause there for me. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do is I'm going to show a video. It's about 5 minutes long. And during this time, just watch it. If you haven't grabbed a piece of paper or pen, you need to do that. Please go ahead and do that, because we're going to work through some things with anxiety and helping you to address that. So with that being said, go grab you a piece of pen, a piece of paper and a pen, or a piece of pen, probably the part that writes, and a paper to write on. And we are going to watch this video.
I'm like, calm down, you're fine. And then you just keep saying that faster and faster.
I should not be this worried about it.
It gave me a lot of anxiety not knowing like what to even do in high school.
Stress is a normal part of life when we are under pressure in new and demanding circumstances. That's a good thing because it helps us adapt when it matters most. There are many reasons why we may feel a little bit of anxiety in today's world. Anxiety is one of the emotions that doesn't feel great, like sadness or anger or fear. Anxiety is unpleasant, but it plays an important role in our lives. We are going to feel anxiety from time to time in our lives, but we don't have to feel anxious about feeling anxious. Everyone experiences anxiety.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yes.
I do feel anxious.
I'm anxious all the time.
I think just the overall pressure to do very well in a lot of different categories.
Homework.
For AP classes, for honors and all that.
Once that test comes in front of me, everything blanks and I'm like, oh gosh.
Reading out loud in class.
Getting ready for college.
Did you get in? Have you sent the things? And
Accumulates, it's just stress. These relationships can cause a lot of anxiety.
Making friends.
Relationships with parents.
Social media, I blame myself too. We put the best parts of ourselves on social media. And if you spend like a lot of time like looking at that and kind of indoctrinating yourself that that's like how life is, then you kind of blame yourself for a lot of the bad things that happen.
Well, like a lot of people were very competitive with each other.
You want to have this certain body or you want to have this certain amount of money.
Growing up, I definitely didn't have a lot of the things that I wanted, like the things that I wore or even like school supplies.
I was like up all night trying to think, is this the right thing to wear? Like, what do freshmen wear?
I had like a ton of acne on my face, and I felt like nobody else did in my school, and especially in my friend group. I felt like that's all that people were looking at.
I just have really racing thoughts. My thoughts just move really quickly to like all the different fears.
And a lot of times it's not even something that would happen. It's just your anxious brain just coming up with scenarios.
It's like everything's closing in on you and like you can't do anything, like you're worried about what's gonna happen.
If anyone talks to me, it kind of goes in one ear and out the other. I just focus on like what I'm anxious about and I can't think about anything else.
Sometimes it can affect your physical body. You can have a hard time breathing.
You're like breathing, I guess. Like it kind of like bottles up and it freaks you out.
I just can't breathe. I can't get a full breath in.
Sometimes it's like my chest is tight. Other times it's like I'm burning a hole in my stomach.
If you feel like you're on a roller coaster and it's like right when you're at the very, very top and you feel like your stomach is like up in your chest and you're like about to fall.
Having 1,000 cups of coffee in your body, which you can imagine is a little much.
They're a little more sweaty than usual. You don't want anyone to notice, and you kind of just think that everyone's looking at you and you're a weirdo and no one's gonna like you because you're freaking out.
That's kind of what it feels like, at least for me.
It's really hard to explain.
I, for a long time, felt like I was the only one who felt that way. And when I started talking to my friends about it, they were like, oh, I actually feel the same way.
Like a lot of people deal with that problem.
I mean, I know, at least with me and my friends, we would all experience it, and we'd just talk about it a little bit, like what's going on, like what we're worried about.
Saying what is making me anxious already feels better. Just put it out there. Just use what words you can, and you guys can just start talking about it. Because if you keep it inside, it just gets worse and worse and worse, and it gets bigger and bigger. But again, if you say it out loud, it's not as scary.
A lot of people go through it. As cheesy as it sounds, you're not alone. A lot of people have anxiety.
So that is where we're at. If you have felt like that, please feel free, hit up the comments and share that. Over the next 4 weeks, guys, we're going to be walking through this. We're going to be looking at a life in the anxious world. And as you saw in the video, anxiety is something that exists in the world around us. I have dealt with it in my life. I know you guys have dealt with it in y'all's life as well. And so it is a reality for all of us. And so let's try to get a better view there. Throughout the series, we'll be opening up the Bible, and it's very, very important because I think we like to diminish what the scriptures can say to said issue. But the gospel is very clear in how to deal with anxiety. And so we're going to be looking at key verses throughout scripture, and you'll see me posting them on Instagram and on Facebook. And if you did not there's a take-home sheet on Facebook. I'll also try to post it in the Google Hangout groups for you guys to walk through some things. But we're going to work to learn practices that will help us when we're stressed, and building relationships with people that we can turn to when we need to talk. That's what those hangout groups are for. And so if you have not joined one yet, if you are in one, awesome. Invite your friends. This is a time, like, sharing the gospel is not over. We still need to go and share the gospel. We need to share the hope that we have in Jesus. And so today we're talking about a life in an anxious world. And so and specifically, where is God when I feel anxious? And so let's start by taking a look at a story in the Bible that you might have heard before. But today we're going to look at it from a little bit different perspective. And so I'm going to have the Bible verse up on here, but make it good practice of turning to the scripture in the Word. And so let's go ahead and turn to Matthew 6, verses 45 through 51. Okay, and so let's go ahead and read this. It says, "Right then, Jesus made his disciples get into a boat, and go ahead to the other side of the lake, toward Bethsaida, while he dismissed the crowd, after saying goodbye to them. And Jesus went up onto a mountain to pray. Evening came, and a boat was in the middle of the lake. But he was alone on the land, and he saw his disciples struggling. And they were trying to row forward, but the wind was blowing against them. Very early in the morning, he came to them, walking on the lake." It's subtle, right? He intended to pass by them. When they saw him walking on the lake, they thought he was a ghost, and they screamed. Seeing him was terrifying to all of them. Just then he spoke to them. He says, "Be encouraged. Do not be afraid." He got into the boat, and the wind settled down. His disciples were baffled. They were beside themselves. We know this story. We've all read this. But what do you notice that's unusual about Jesus' words or actions? What's unusual? What did you observe in this story? One of the things that I observed was his intentions were to walk past them. And please share those in the comments too. What did you observe? He saw that they were making headway painfully for the wind, and it was against them. And about the fourth watch of the night, I'm reading a little different version than I had on screen. He came to them walking on the sea, and he meant to pass by them. But they cried. They were scared, and he came to them. Those are some things. When he encounters his disciples, and he sees them afraid, when he sees their anxiousness and their stress, he doesn't walk past them and keep going. Instead, he stops. And what does he do? He gets in the boat. Jesus steps into the unsteady boat. There are many stories in the Bible when someone shows the signs that they're feeling anxious. What examples do you guys? Man, what in the world? I had it all turned off. Sorry. all the way down. What examples can you think of? What other stories in the Bible where someone shows signs that they're feeling anxious? Give you time just to think about that. I think about David, Abraham, Sarah, Moses, Naomi, Esther, Elijah, Ezekiel, almost all of them. Jeremiah, the weeping prophet. They all had feelings of showing signs of worry and anxiousness. Even for the people in today's story, it wasn't the first time these same disciples found themselves in a heated situation. So let's look back. Let's go back to Mark chapter 4. And it says this, right then, later that day, when evening came, Jesus said to them, let's cross over to the other side of the lake. They left the crowd and took him in the boat, just as he was. Other boats followed along. Gale-force winds arose and waves crashed against the boat, so that the boat was swamped. But Jesus was in the rear of the boat, sleeping on a pillow. They woke him up and said, Teacher, don't you care that we're drowning? He got up and gave orders to the wind, and he said to the lake, Silence, be still. The wind settled down, and there was a great calm. But Jesus asked them, Why are you frightened? Don't you have faith yet? Overcome with awe, they said to each other, Who then is this? Even the wind and the sea obey him. The ESV, he says this. It talked about gale force winds. Here he describes it as a great windstorm and arose, and waves were breaking into the boat, so that the boat was already filling. He says swamp, but filling up, right? But what does Jesus do? What does he do in that moment? Did he leave them? Did he just stay asleep? No, Jesus doesn't leave them alone in their anxiety, right? He's with them. And what do you notice about their response? Their response was awe. They worshiped. They gave in completely. They're like, who is this? Who then is this that even the wind and the sea should obey him? What kind of person is this? This cannot be just an ordinary man. And so it leads them in awe. They misunderstood who Jesus was and what he was doing. But in both cases, the water and wind were calmed. All right? The storm ceased, and now Jesus was with them in their questions and confusions. So my question is for you guys. What's making your boat feel unsteady? What's making your boat feel unsteady? And this is where you need to grab your pieces of pen and paper. And like if we were in the youth room, you guys would write them down and do all that type of stuff. But I'm going to ask you this thing. So what's making your boat feel unsteady lately? Maybe it's school, online, the lack of school. It could have been sports and practice. Now it's probably like you're missing practice. You're missing that community you had on the field. Those extracurricular activities that you took place in. Just insert the blank. Maybe it was your friendships or relationships or your something going on at home. Maybe it's work. Maybe it's money. Maybe you're battling something in your heart. So on your piece of paper, I'm going to play a song. We're going to take 2 minutes. All right? I'm going to play the song. When the song's over, I'll come back. But you're going to take 2 minutes to write as many things as you can think of that are causing you to feel stressed out. I'm not going to ask you to share this with your friends, with your group, your Google Hangouts or anything like that if you don't want to. But be honest to yourself, okay? You're at home. You guys are watching this, and I'd encourage you to share this with your friends because, man, I'm telling you, I think this moment right here is why a lot of people's boats feel unsteady, and mine is one of them. You know, I talked with Jared and Todd today about that, and so I'm going to play this song. We're going to go into it on the screen, but take this song to write down things that are making your boat unsteady? All right, sorry, I'm back. I made a list. Turn the AC on. Cool, you can hear me now. I'm back. I was saying this, we all feel anxious sometimes. And it's that knot in your stomach or that nagging fear when you face a challenge. And that's your body's natural response to that. And so anxiety is a feeling that everyone at every age experiences, no matter your level, no matter where, thank you, no matter where you're at. And so anxiety can feel like a real problem, and if it's out of control, it can be. And so, but here's the important thing to remember. Anxiety exists to tell us something important. Anxiety might be telling us something is wrong, like something's off, or we're in danger. It might be telling us something about our body or our relationships or about our basic needs like food and sleep. The key is that we need to learn, we learn to listen. We need to listen to our anxieties and see where it's pointing us to. So in that Mark passage we looked at, Jesus was present in moments when people were feeling anxious, when they were feeling most anxious, and showed them a healthier way to respond. And as we look at characters throughout the Bible, guys, we can see that while God doesn't usually place anxiety on people's shoulders, God is present and stays with them in their most anxious moments. And so often anxiety seems to be a tool that points people towards growth. And so that's a question. What is anxiety telling you? All right. Where is God at work in the midst of my anxiety? What might God or anxiety be trying to tell me? Is it my schedule, the pressure I'm in? Times when I'm beyond my comfort zone, whether I'm eating and sleeping enough, whether I'm putting myself in dangerous situations. And so just as we did earlier with those 2 minutes, take another 2 minutes to write some of these down. Well, let's be a little less than this. Let's not do full 2 minutes. Just take a little bit to maybe work through some of these things. Maybe you can identify these. When anxiety takes control, it can make us feel unsteady. And I know every single one of you have been there. I've been there. I have experienced these things. I get anxious about camp, guys. I'll be honest with you. Church camp makes me anxious because there's so much that can go on, and all my senses are elevated, and when we're traveling or anything like that. And so we try different things to make that unsteady feeling go away. These are called coping strategies, all right? Some coping strategies might numb our feelings, and these are things like alcohol, drugs, self-harm, but they cause even more problems than that feeling of anxiety. Coping strategies is everything we do to try to get rid of or reduce or tolerate stress. For me and my anxieties, the way I dealt with them at certain periods of time was I spent money. I bought things because I thought I had acceptance in those, or I would go eat food or do those type of things. And so over time, if I just was ignoring what my anxiety was telling me, and if we ignore anxiety, it can cause other struggles like depression. But the good news is that we can work with anxiety in healthier ways than just ignoring it or numbing it. Now, we don't have to follow it down a dangerous path. There are healthy coping strategies that help us step out of our anxiousness. And so, anxiety doesn't have to take us down a dangerous path. Something that I've done here lately to help me with my anxiety and worries, and just this time, is I just go walk with my family. I go and be outside. I go hang out in my hammock. I turn the TV off. And I've been consuming a ton of media. At times in my life, I have set my phone aside. I've left it in the living room and not had it next to the bed. And that's something that I really should do more of. When your wife's a nurse and on call, you gotta have it. I've run last year. I ran a lot. I need to get back into that because it just gave me space and time, and I was forced to breathe because I was running and I'm out of shape, and you have to breathe, and just running. One other thing I do is I'll just get in my car and just go to silence, just driving, just hearing the road, roll down the windows. Those things have helped me. And then prayer, just praying, times in my life when I've run to it and times when I haven't. And so maybe another big one is I talk to my friends. I have a whole group of friends I'll FaceTime with, guys that I've discipled, guys that are discipling me. I'll FaceTime them, and that just helps me, especially as an extrovert in this time. Like I need that. Or it can just be a combination. Those are the things that I've done. And so when we listen to what our anxiety is trying to tell us, guys, we can, learn about who we are and what situations make us feel unsteady and what healthy coping strategies work for us. We use our power to make changes when situations in our life cause us to feel tense, and we can recognize where God is present and at work in our rocking boats. When we are in that, just as these men, the disciples, and were on the boats, whenever Jesus came up, they recognized it was him. It wasn't a ghost, but it was Jesus. Or when he was sleeping, they recognized where he's at, and then he became working. So we can practice listening to God, so that we can experience peace and share that peace with others. Kind of like how we might cultivate or work a garden to grow what we want. And I've thought about this in this time, like growing a garden of tomatoes or something, so I don't have to go to the grocery store, right? So we cultivate when we can cultivate. Practices grow peace in our lives by helping us walk through this anxious world and recognize that God is at our side and in our unsteady boat. So we must recognize in this moment. Just think about it. Allegorize a little bit. The whole world is a rocking boat right now, shaking. It's experiencing something that this generation hasn't experienced in 100 years on this quote-unquote level. There's been other experiences. We in America have not had to experience them. But today we are on an unsteady boat. We don't know what's going to happen, what's happening next. We don't know. We feel like the waves of change, the waves of chaos, the waves of just can't getting back to normal aren't going to be there. But what do we know? And so we need to rest in that. So we think back to the stories we've read in the Bible in session. We can even consider other stories of Jesus that we've read or heard. Notice that Jesus rarely traveled alone. And he's informing his group, the 12 disciples and women who traveled with them. He created a close circle who supported one another, even long after he was gone. And many of you guys have that. But what's hard for you right now is you can't see them in person to person. But thanks to technology, you can be in groups via your phone, the thing you carry in your pocket. And so we need to make sure we're getting that, and we're getting healthy doses, and that we're communicating. And we're not just pointlessly communicating, but we're communicating our hurts and our hates and our hang-ups and our angers and our fears. And maybe something was said by a friend or a family member, or you're just tired of looking at a wall or the TV screen. But over the next few weeks, guys, we're going to talk about anxiety and depression because they are important things for every person to get comfortable talking about. So when we start to feel anxious or sad, there are 3 important things we can do. And so that's where we're going to go. We can look up, look inside, and look around. All right. Look up, look inside, and look around. That's my last slide. Look up means we pause in the midst of our anxious thoughts to look up and seek God's wisdom through the Bible, all right? And talk with others who are walking in our faith. Look inside means we think and reflect on where God is at work inside of us. Look around as we take a good look at our own anxious world so that we can make peace and share it. And as we look up together, I'm going to teach you some steps to build yourself a circle of care like Jesus did. A close circle of friends you can trust and talk to when you feel unsteady. And man, so many of you guys have already done this, and it's so encouraging. But I'm also going to give you some time, some tools to look inward. In small groups, you guys, if you're in one, we'll explore a prayer called the Daily Replay. And I'm going to post a video on this on Instagram, just talking about it. It's going to be on IGTV. A simple prayer practice with a few steps that you can follow every day or even in those moments where it feels like anxiety is taking over. And this really, really, really helps. This has been around 2,000 years, okay? This is what Jesus did. And we're going to look at that story. When Jesus was dealing with the anxiety and the worry of what was to come on Friday or this Thursday night, what did he do? He retreated to prayer. And so we want to imitate Christ, so we need to retreat to prayer. It's important to be in that. And so in those moments when it feels like anxiety is taking over, to help you spot God at work, we need to do that. So I'm also going to challenge you to look around. When you go home and when you go to school, well, you go home, you're always home. But when you go out to Kroger, when you go to Walmart, when you're on Instagram, Facebook, these social places, right? Each week you'll have a sheet that will be available on Facebook, and I'll try to get them in your Google groups with some questions and a challenge to try. And so tonight, if you haven't joined a group, my question or my challenge to you is to join a group. Those links are available on our Facebook group. They've also are available in a couple emails. I can post them on Instagram in the comments for you guys if that helps too. But take some time to step away and reflect. And so just an idea of like what you're going to be doing is this. The daily replay is the first step is to become aware of God's presence. The second is to review the day with gratitude. The third is to pay attention to your emotions. Fourth is to forgive and ask for forgiveness. And the fifth is to look toward tomorrow. That's something we want to do every day. And so that has been posted, and you can have that resource. And we want to run to Jesus in this moment. We want to run to him when we feel overwhelmed, when our boat is being tossed and being swamped or filled with water and chaos. We want to run to him. And so, guys, remember to look up, look inside, and look around for what God is doing. And for this stuff to really take root and practice into your hearts, you need to communicate. You need to be in community with each other. Ashton talked about that. She misses church. She misses her friends. She misses seeing you guys. And I know she's not the only one. And thank you for being honest, Ashton. I appreciate that tremendously. And I know I've had conversations with many of you in the past at camps and during this, like our lead team. This is something that many of you are feeling. And so you need to talk about that because you're not alone. And reflect on what God is trying to tell you. What is this anxiety telling me? Divine disruption, all right? God has you, and he's got you at home in an important place. And so use this time to grow, to learn how to handle these crazy changes. Because, guys, you're gonna experience these boat turn in, toss in upheavals throughout your life. But you don't have to do it alone. And that's the good news. Don't carry the weight on your shoulders. You have a helper. You have Jesus. And if you don't know Jesus, if you haven't experienced Christ, if you haven't run to him, if you have not followed and put your faith and your trust in him, man, this is the time. I would encourage you to turn to the book of John and read that, and then go to the book of Romans, and just to have some questions answered and communicate. Text me, text your friend, text the leader in our groups. Don't wait. There's an opportunity. And students, don't wait to share the love of Jesus with someone, all right? May we grow in spirit, in a number during this time, so that when we come back this summer, when we are meeting in here, when we are worshiping, man, may we make a loud and joyful noise to the Lord, because we are in community. We are with each other, brothers and sisters, and we are on fire to go beyond in order so others would experience hope, all right, in a hopeless, what seems like a hopeless world or a hopeless outcome. So I'm going to pray with you guys, and then we will be done for the night. God, we love you. We thank you. We thank you for your grace and your mercy, God. I pray for those who are in this cast, those who will be watching later, those who do not have the opportunity to watch via technology, Lord. I pray for our students, the ones I've talked to, the ones I have not got to talk to, Lord. I pray for, Lord, that you would just be with them, Lord, that they would seek after you in this time, Lord, that they would call out to you as their boat is shaking, Lord, and they would just see the power that you have over the situation, God. And so, God, I pray that they would communicate their hurts and their worries, and Lord, they would reflect on the thankfulness that we have, right? The good things that we have. And God, may we just take this time just to rest in you, God, and just to sit in your goodness, even in this craziness. So, God, we love you. We thank you. You're so good. It's in your name we pray. Amen. So, guys, watch on the Instagram. I'll have some things posted. Fellowship bingo will happen. It's just taking me some time. So look forward to that. I have some other social media stuff that you guys can do. I love you. I miss you, because this stuff is for the birds. I like technology. I don't like it this much. And so I miss seeing you guys' faces and hearing your stories and your laughs and hearing you guys sing. And you guys playing here with Knox and those just joyful things. So I look forward to coming back with you sooner than later. So again, share the good news. And let's practice this. Let's practice this prayer together. Let's grow. I'll see you later, guys.